they are the war drivers. They want to continue this war till the last Ukrainian people died. And we have to stop it. I'm definitely not a friend of Trump, absolutely not. And there was many arguments today why Trump is really a bad president and he's definitely not a peacenik. He's the opposite of this. But when he is going, by which reasons and interests or forever, in the direction of making a ceasefire and opening a peace process for Ukraine, I think we have to support it, and we have to stop the warmongers and the war monsters which want to continue this process. This is an urgent need for the next weeks and months, because now, in the next days and weeks, there will be the decision in which way we are going. And deepening the war is opening the way to a third world war. When we really deliver Taurus and put Taurus rockets to Russia, which means 1,000 kilometers to Russia, destroying the capital of Russia and the command centers, this is the start of the big world war. We should never forget that when we are discussing Ukraine. And it is now the time either it goes in this direction or the way to the other directions can be open. And so please stop your Prime Minister, who is the same way like our new Chancellor, one of the leading guys who can lead us to the Third World War. Third point, connecting to what Sophie was saying. You know, we were not speaking so much about NATO. And sometimes we forget that NATO exists, because there are some controversies between the European countries and the US. But NATO is not any longer the name, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO today is the global NATO, the military alliance, the biggest military alliance in the world, including the new allies in Japan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and also Singapore and others. And the goal of this NATO is to establish and continue the old world power which comes to an end. The world power led by the Western countries, above all led by the United States of America, against the deep changes in the world. That is the background of NATO. And this means above all to fight against China. And we have to put this question of global NATO again and again on the topic of our agenda and raise awareness for that. In my country, 75% of the people believe NATO is helpful for peace. Yes. I have no idea what is in your country, but I cannot imagine that there's a big difference. So we have to explain why NATO is dangerous for us, why NATO leads us to wars. And do you know what does this mean? When all the NATO countries are really paying 5% of their GDP for military spending, this is the goal of Trump and others, 5%. In Germany, it means every second euro of the budget is spent for military purposes. That is their dream. And we have to stop this dream because of social, ecological, healthcare reasons, educational reasons for universities. So never forget to bring NATO on the top of your work and on the agenda. And this means we have to prepare and mobilize for the 21st and 22nd of June. The next NATO summit will be in Den Haag. We are preparing the counter summit, and we are preparing, hopefully, a big rally in Den Haag. And this should be really a national rally. And all the surrounding countries from Den Haag, from Dutch, should come with wagons, cars, whatever, to these demonstrations. So please put on your agenda these days and mobilize for these activities. It is really very important. Maybe my final 2 points. First point is, very often we are asked, what is the alternative to this confrontation? What is the alternative only to spending more money and for the going to wars? And let me say, also today, I think we forgot a lot of these wars in the world. Sudan, Congo. You know, we have 20 wars and more than 200 armed conflicts in the world. And to our awareness raising, a part of our awareness raising must be always to show that we either can continue going this way of confrontation and war, or we find another way. And the another way has a name. The name is common security. It was mentioned in the beginning several times. Common security means my interests of my country are the same level than the interests of the other country. Security you can only have when both sides are respected. And common security means cooperation, dialogue, and disarmament. And we have to go for this way. And for Europe, it means we need a new security structure and a new security architecture for Europe. And when we are coming to ceasefire in the Ukraine, maybe in the beginning to a frozen conflict, then we immediately have to start the discussion about a new common security order in Europe. And let us remember, we have on the 1st of August, the 50 years anniversary of the first OSCE conference in Helsinki. Maybe the elder guys will remember this so important conference, which opened for Europe in the middle of the 70s, a new way of cooperation. It was not an easy way, and there were many problems on this way, but it opened a new way. And we have to come back to this way of cooperation and dialogue. Final word, nothing of all that I have said will happen without the peace movement. This means, for all of us, I think you all know that we would love to be stronger than we are, and that we would love to mobilize more people than we are doing. But we have to continue the way. There is no alternative than to work and to mobilize in and with the peace movement. We have to overcome our problems, maybe also our mistakes, but the peace movement is a key issue that we can get the changes in Europe and in the world. So let's go from here and from wherever we were, and we're coming from Germany. We have behind us the Easter marches. We had 120 Easter marches in the whole country. 120 Easter marches with about, at the end, 50, 60,000 participants. It was a good sign, but also it was not enough. But it's a sign, and we have to start with what we have to continue working. We are needed. Without us, peace will not happen. Thank you.